Lisa Demeo, and we are talking real estate on the Beach channel. Today, my guest is Amber Sim from Sim Realty. I was gonna say Sim. Amber, tell me, what's happening with the real estate market in South Florida? I mean, it's crazy, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty crazy since 2020. So the areas I mostly work are Coconut Grove, which is where we are in Coral Gables. And obviously, I feel like this is the theme, but 2020, we saw a big surge in population here. A lot of people moving from California. A lot of people moving from New York, New Jersey, you know, all across the country. But like, if you look back, 2019, average price in Coral Gables, it was pretty easy to get between 6 to under $1 million for a 3.2. Now those same properties, the new million is a 2.2 in the Gables right now. It really
is.
Yeah, so
that's really sad.
I don't think it's going to change that much. I think it has stabilized a little bit. I think average growth in general in Miami-Dade is 7% asset appreciation. Obviously, the last few years, it's been way higher than that. And I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon. No. Even though it's slowed down a bit, I think interest rates are probably going to go down in the next year again.
What do you think to out-of-state buyers? What's your experience with out of state? I mean, the people that are coming in from New York, I have a lot of New Yorkers come in. Major, I just sold at Cipriani, pre-construction. I must have at least 5 potential buyers from New York a day that are interested. They don't like the price per square foot, like puts them off straight away. I'm like, sorry, there's nothing I can do about it, but yeah.
Well, I feel like at first when people from New York were like the influx, they were looking at prices and being like, wow, it's amazing how much I can afford here.
Exactly.
Because there was the affordability element. Now those same people are coming and they're sticker shock. And it's it's like you have to remind them, oh, we don't have income taxes here. Florida has other great things. You see the water, like you get a lot nicer of things, what you're paying for, but
and a better quality of life.
Better quality of life. You find people so much happier here. But again, it's not that much cheaper than New York now.
Yeah. What about out of well, I was gonna say out of like not state, but like out of the country, like a lot of Colombians coming in, you know, they want to get rid of their money, like put it in, you know, into investments and so on. Yeah. But what advice would you give a new homeowner?
Yeah, so I would say if you're even close to affording a house or a condo, I would say make the leap. I think,
even with the interest rates?
Yeah, I mean, you look at, and if you do the investment analysis, like technically, you're going to be paying more than you would be paying in rent. So it depends if you're short-term or long-term focused. But if you have the ability and the cash flow to pay for something now.
And then refinance.
And then in the long term, you have an asset, you build equity. And no matter what, you're coming out ahead from.
I want to say it's going up and up and up. It definitely is.
You're never going to run into a situation here where your property declines in value.
How can you be so young and smart? I don't get it.
So nice.
And you're so new into the real estate market. Well, not new. I'm just looking at my shoe. I've got powder from.
Your shoes are beautiful too. Yeah, well, I grew up around real estate, so Sim Realty, it's my family's company, and my parents have been in the business for over 30 years now.
So that's so interesting. So we're sat here at Accord Productions.
Yes.
The building is here on South Dixie Highway. When I moved here, I got a job as a TV host 13 years ago. It's my home from home. I mean, I have shot South Beach Classics here, Gunther's Millions here with Netflix, now this show. I've done so much, and it's like, so much history, and then you represent the building.
Yes.
So it's like, it's so nice.
And you've seen all the changes in the building, which is amazing. And it's like, I mean, it's turned into such a cool creative space now. It's amazing because it's in the Grove. We rarely ever have space available just because there's such a demand to be in this building.
Well, everybody knows this building.
Yes.
There's not one person that I meet in Miami that don't know where Accord Productions is.
They may not know what happens here, but they know the building, they know the sign. And so, it's almost like a staple.
Look, it's actually on the monitor right now. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge building.
It's humongous. I'm sure a lot of people have passed by this driving on US 1.
And just think, what's going on there?
Yeah, and it's really cool space. I mean, we've developed quite the tenant population here. It's amazing. It's very creative centric.
It is.
So you'll see production, you'll see sound studios, you'll see publicists.
You do, but you know what? I've been working with them for 13 years, and the owners still don't put me on the front of the building. Oh my God. I have full face.
Hey,
so
there's that little
I need to
TV.
negotiate with them.
Yeah, there's the TV right out there. You could do that. I think we'd get more clients coming in.
Wow,
yeah, we'd get
nice.
more tenants.
I don't think you're lacking.
Yeah, I mean, that's very rare that we have space available, but
it's interesting that you do commercial and residential.
Yes.
And you do that personally yourself. Like I always find it really interesting how you can just switch from like commercial, industrial, residential.
Different. Yeah. I mean, commercial, it's very formal. You're dealing a lot with a lot of different personalities. You have the developer side, you have the investor side, you have people looking for commercial space for their office, and then you get to the home side and it's very personal. It's like you're kind of in bed with that person.
You are. I mean, I always say being a real estate agent, you're basically a therapist 24/7.
You are. Oh my gosh. It's like the
you're
things
the wife,
you learn,
the brother,
and
the sister, the everything to them. You are.
It's a lot of dynamics. But residential is so cool. I mean, you see so many beautiful properties in Miami.
You definitely do.
It's like.
So you say that, you were mentioning Coral Gables, Coconut Grove. Mm-hmm. What other areas would you like recommend places to live? I mean, I personally love Pinecrest. Yeah. I love Coconut Grove, but Pinecrest for me is like very houses, a lot of land. You get much more for your money. My son goes to school there. I always say it, but it's, I drive through that drive every day. It's like wonderful.
It's very peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what stage of life you're in. I'd say
100%. That's actually true.
I gravitate towards Pinecrest now. And growing up, I never thought of that. I was like, oh, it's
Isn't
so
it
far.
Weird?
But it's so beautiful. It's like there's so much land. The trees are beautiful. The landscaping. It's like you kind of feel like you're outside the city there. But I'd say if you're younger, one of my new favorite areas is Mimo. So like just kind of like north of Design District. I think it's very up and coming. There's a lot of new places coming there.
Do you know what's funny? When I first moved to Miami in 2011, I rented a house for $4,000 a month.
No way.
You telling me, I don't want to say Mimu because my dog's called Moo. It's like, it just sounds
I don't even
weird
know if that's exactly how you pronounce it.
But I had like the most beautiful like 2-3 bedroom house, gorgeous pool, $4,000 a month.
Oh my gosh.
The only thing back then, I just didn't feel safe. Now it's a whole, you didn't have the design district, you didn't have the fancy stores, you didn't have the designer, whatever. But it's so
nice, and you have the water right there. And to me now it feels safer than Edgewater.
Yeah.
So
what about Morningside?
Yeah, I think it's nice too. It's definitely a good area.
You have a lot of celebrities on that side of like the bay living there. You've got Enrique Iglesias.
Such a good view. It's like amazing over there. Yeah, it's nice, and that park is beautiful as well.
What about Brickell? Would you say to rent or buy to people? It's interesting because it's almost like, do you rent or do you buy in these certain places? Because it's so expensive to buy in Brickell, but yet you can rent for a lot cheaper. It's like,
it depends on what quality you want.
That's
so
true.
It's like, if quality is important to you and the lifestyle, like obviously there's a huge like price disparity between what you can buy for now. I'd say like probably $800-900 for 2-bedroom in Brickell is probably on average for decent. Whereas you can rent a place for $4,000 and you have beautiful views. Yeah. And so I don't know if you're living in Brickell. I also have an issue with condos in general, just because. Like,
do you live in a house yourself?
I live in a house now, and with condos, it's like.
Oh my goodness! I just realized you're the dog mum.
Yeah.
I just realized. So I'm obsessed with my dog.
Oh yeah.
And I.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a mini schnauzer, but she's pink.
Oh, she's pink.
Yeah, she's a rock
Is she
star.
Hairless or?
No, I just dye her hair. Organic, by the way. So whoever's watching this, don't get upset.
Oh my god, I have to see this after. This
I'll
is amazing.
Show you. But I love that, and it's so funny because she's actually part of my real estate kind of look. I take her everywhere. I didn't bring her today because
you can take her everywhere.
But I always take her to the showings, and you wouldn't believe how many people like gravitate more and remember you.
Yeah.
So what dogs do you have? I know we're talking real estate, but just quickly.
I have 2 60-pound dogs, so like, and they're also not like greatly trained to like come to showings. I have a Samoyed, which is like this huge white fluffy dogs. I don't know if you've seen the Proposal, but the puppy in that's a Samoyed. And then I have an Australian Shepherd.
Australian Shepherd.
She's psycho. Like she can't.
Does she have a different coloured eye?
She doesn't, but she has crazy eyes.
Yeah, they're bonkers. They never get tired.
I would not get more clients if I brought Riley.
Okay, back to real estate. So telling me, how does the lifestyle affect the market of just in general? It really does.
I mean, it's just it depends exactly. So if you're a dog person, Brickell's not ideal. There's one dog park. It's like so saturated with dogs. It's very unclean to me, at least. And
it seems to be more and more important now. It's just buildings that accept dogs.
Yeah.
one of my clients actually just put on Instagram the other day all of the dog friendly places that you can live in, because it's a big deal.
It is.
If you can't move in somewhere.
Totally. I mean, I don't think I've seen this in Miami yet, but I know some buildings that I've heard of in Denver have dog wash stations where you can go.
I've heard of that.
Clean your dog downstairs. There's like this dog forward movement definitely right now.
So Amber, talk about this listing. Wow. So is this in the Grove?
So this is in Gables by the Sea. So this is one of our...
so this is fancy smanchy then?
Very fancy.
What price is it?
Gated community. We're selling it for 5.8. It's a 5.6.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Me too. I would not hate looking out to that view every day. It's about 125 feet of water line. So you can put some pretty big boats there. Not that I have one, but that might be the next investment.
Absolutely.
It's a saltwater heated pool. And it was built in the 60s, but they totally regutted it in 2021. Sorry. So it's like
absolutely stunning.
Basically new construction. They opened it up. They raised some of the ceilings.
Oh my God, look at the kitchen.
Top of the line appliances. Those are all Sub-Zero. You have the wine cooler, you have a beverage bar. It has gas as well, which they add with
which
propane
I would say
tanks.
that's unusual now.
Yeah, and it's a very like modern house, but then they have all these like natural elements. So in the kitchen, in the picture before, there's soapstone countertops, and then you have like the high gloss cabinets. So
this is as we see it. This is as it is. So the design options. Could you have anything different? I mean, can you?
Of course. I mean, you can always modify it, but I would say this is move-in ready.
Want to.
Yeah, I don't think you would want to. It's like
turnkey.
It's incredible. It's a great ground level master too.
Is the furniture an option to
it could be. Yeah, they actually have a gym in there as well, which I don't think I included a picture, but that could also be included in the deal as well. So
it's funny because I just sold a house in Naples, and the guy, my client was just like, you know what, I just want to buy everything included, including the car.
It's so easy. You just move in.
It is. And people just want to get rid of their stuff now. They're just like,
well, you want to start over. I mean, you kind of build your like furniture for your house.
Absolutely.
And the best thing I didn't even mention about this house is there's no bridges to bay. So if you have a boat, there's no bridges. You go immediately out to the bay. So if you're a boater, it is boater's paradise.
That's fantastic. And how long's it been on the market?
So we just listed it right around the holidays. So we've had a lot of interest. A lot of interest. No offers yet, but I would encourage people to act fast if this is of interest.
Talk your design option with this.
Yeah. And sorry, do you mind clarifying? What do you mean design option?
So just in general, like the design, like, how did you kind of come about, the building, the structure of it? Like
So the structure was mostly there from the 60s, but they did add that ground floor addition. Yeah, so they added that ground floor addition, and they also added the siding that you see on the outside of the house. So it gives it more of that like homey kind of Key West style. So yeah, their design,
and altogether, how many square footage is it?
It's 4,362.
So the price really is not bad.
It's like I think 1,300 on a price per square foot basis, is amazing on the water.
It is. And how many garages do they have?
They have a 2-car garage.
Yeah.
And it's a smart house as well. So a lot of things to talk about with this house. But I mean, there's like sensors on the lights, there's an alarm system, there's cameras. I mean, it's top of the line. It's amazing.
It looks it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you'll have a problem selling it. That's for sure.
I hope not.
That's definitely. What do you like about the house yourself? Like your personal things?
Well, so one of the first open houses I did there, I don't know if you remember a few weeks ago when there was a really bad rainstorm that came through.
I do.
Of course no one came because the weather was horrible.
And that was the day that you did it?
It was. And so it's super heavy, high impact glass. And it was just so beautiful watching the rain come through, and like it had this like mystical feel, being like, I don't know, it felt magical in a way.
Listen, I'm English. I actually do love the rain. I bring it everywhere with me, so I know that feel.
So can I ask you a question about being English? Do you love Harry Potter?
You asked me if I was Australian.
Yeah, that's true. So do you love Harry Potter or no? Is that
I love Harry Potter.
Yeah, okay.
I love Harry Potter. I love everything to do with England. It's changed a lot though.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's not, you don't see yourself moving back.
And it's funny, we're talking about the interest rates, totally different. My parents were telling me a whole story. They're here visiting me and they were telling me that when they moved back to England from South Africa, years in the 60s, they bought their first house that I was born in and they still own. The interest rate when they bought it was 14%. Wow. Isn't that crazy?
It's insane. Yeah. And that's the thing, when you talk to mortgage brokers and you say, oh my God, interest rates are so high now, they go, no.
Exactly.
Actually, the average is like 7%. Now we're trending towards the normal.
And that goes back to like out of country buyers. It's like, you know, for me, like I said earlier, I have a lot of cash buyers, so it doesn't really matter. But like, do you have a lot of like out of, you know?
Yeah, we don't work as much with international buyers, but like I predominantly focus on kind of first-time home buyers, so most of them obviously require financing. And then, any of the cash buyers that we have, most of the time they're investors too, so it makes more sense for them. Yeah.
It does. It really does. It's so interesting. Are you actually enjoying real estate? Do you find it? Because when I first started, I started actually with my TV show here at Accord Productions. I was like, you know what? I might as well get my license. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was nerve-wracking because you think you going into something it's going to be so easy, and it's really not. Like,
it's extremely hard.
And there's a lot of people here that have their licenses, so they have it in the first year and they just pack in because it's so daunting. And I've been in-house. I did that for a very short period of time. And I find a lot of people also lie. They pretend they're buying something, and then it's like at the last minute, can I just take you for a glass of wine or dinner? And it's like I just wasted like a whole week. And the thing is, you just don't know who you're gonna bring in, but it's tough. It's not
really
not easy.
Tough. Yeah, I'd say it takes 3. And I mean, I haven't hit my 3-year mark, but I'd say it takes 3 years before you really like get your foot in the door.
I totally agree with you.
Have a solid foundation. But you know, I was around this my whole life, and I fought it for so long. Like, this is the last thing I thought I would be doing. I used to do finance before this, and then I worked at a tech company doing finance there as well.
You look like a tech person. You look like a brainy box.
Yeah, a little nerdy.
In a nice way, though.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that. But yeah, I don't know. I just got being trapped behind a desk. It felt like I was chained there.
No, I couldn't do it.
And so, I think once COVID happened, I was fully remote. It was just like, I was going crazy. Let
me tell you, I know it was such a sad time, but I wish I had my license during that time because
you would have killed it. And you would have learned so quickly too, because you don't even have time to like take a breath.
No, people just didn't even care. They were just buying, renting all over the place. It was just like
going over ask. Like,
I know, it's crazy. So the listing that you have right now, have you had any offers?
So not yet, no offers, but we've had a lot of interest. A lot of the people that are interested in it have they have to sell their own house.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little time, I think, on, this high of a listing, but there's creative solutions we can do with that.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about maybe a lease back or extended closing. Yeah. So those are some levers you
have. Or
a
lease with an option to buy.
Yeah,
which is always a good option. Yeah. So does Accord Productions here have space to rent?
We do, yeah. So like I said, it's rarely available. This is the first time we've actually had a vacancy.
Well, I know this studio here is never available. I mean, they're fully booked up, but it is fabulous. I mean, I don't know many podcast studios in Miami that look like this and have a team like this that's so professional.
Well, and especially if you're a creative tenant and you have like a requirement for this, is amazing. So you get discounted access in the actual studio space. Wow. There's 2 studios here on site. There's as well access to shared conference room. Parking is super easy. It's super accessible right off US 1.
Do you get invited to the wine tasting that they do?
I do,
and what about the poker nights?
Poker nights, yes. Actually, I have been invited twice.
I've been invited for 13 years. I've never been.
I have not gone.
It's only because I'm embarrassed because I don't know how to play.
I know. I just feel like they'd eat me alive. But it is a great community. And so we have about 1,500 square feet available. We were going through the slides, so that's the shared conference space,
which is huge. It's huge,
and it's really cool because it's basically like a film museum. So Accord has been in the business. I don't know exactly, but I want to say like 50 years. Yeah. So there's been a lot of equipment that they've gathered throughout the years, and so rather than sell them or get rid of it, they thought, hey, let's display it. So,
it's wonderful.
Creative space,
and
it's super beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the space we have available right now. There are 3 offices, some open area, and a reception. There's great LED lighting throughout with some, more creative light fixtures. And then you have a window line office as well. So it's on the 2nd floor. But yeah, I mean, you can see some of the creative elements.
That's me from the show that we did on Netflix. Doesn't look like me. Well, it just changed to blonde hair. So Amber, just quickly wrapping up.
Yeah.
Just tell me a few things about the listing that you want people to remember, the address, or if you want to say the address or not, and then we'll wrap it up.
So the first listing we went through, that's 1300 Lugo Avenue.
Yeah.
And then the Accord building that we're discussing on the commercial side, that is 2140 South Dixie Highway.
Wonderful.
And yeah, again, you've probably seen the sign before, and so it's good to just like orient yourself on the building.
Everyone knows them. Yeah. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
I hope to see you again. Please come on my next show.
Absolutely,
you're
this
fabulous.
Has been fun.
It really
Thank
has.
you so much.
God, I look like I'm slouching.
I know.
My mom's gonna kill me.
I know. I don't want to see my posture after this.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. I'm Lucy Demeo. You're with the Beach Channel, and we'll be back soon.